Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about a bunch of juicy data mined information that was found, including some images that will really get you wondering what is coming to the game next, monetization wise, etc. But first, I want to talk about the boycott because there's a lot of information out there, and some of the information differs from other information. And I don't have the final say on what a boycott is or what it should be or what it's going to be, but I just wanted to let you know what my opinion is and what my take is on this, because this is really the key way that boycotts fail or succeed: communication. And if players maintain communication with one another, and if players maintain roughly the same expectations, it's always difficult for thousands, hundreds of thousands of players or tens of thousands of players to maintain expectations across, you know, hundreds of countries, time zones, etc. Right? And some of you guys are VIP 1, some of you guys are VIP 50. You know how it goes. So it's really hard. I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but we all have one common goal. We want this game to be better. And that is really the lens through which we have to view the boycott. The boycott is not for me to get what I want. The boycott is not for you to get specifically what you want. The boycott is definitely not to destroy the game or anything like that. No, the boycott simply involves not, you know, coming into a system and not having a system introduced to us that is extremely expensive and extremely power giving, right? A gigantic spike in power that requires a gigantic investment in money is going to ruin this game competitively for a lot of players. Now, you can always make the argument that we shouldn't boycott and that you can just ignore the system and play your own way. Sure, but then you basically forfeit the right, not the right, but you basically forfeit your ability to play certain game modes. Because sure, like story mode, dimension mission isn't really affected, but world boss is affected, because any new world bosses that they introduce, including possibly, quite possibly null, are going to be balanced for these new cards and these insane stats. So then if you don't have them, you're going to fall behind rapidly. Squad battle, you might not be able to stay in the top 20 if other players can score higher than you because they have these new cards and these new forged CTPs. Even things like racing for Shadowland, that's going to impact things, right? And then you have this entire tab that's going to be basically off limits. If you want to compete in any way, shape, or form, you're going to get absolutely hyper dunked and wrecked and destroyed and one-shotted. You're going to fight 1 million HP Hulks that are literally unkillable, right? And so you have this situation where more than half the game is suddenly off limits to you, or you're at a gross disadvantage. And when I say gross disadvantage, I mean it makes you want to throw up. It's like they have 50% more attack, they have 50% more HP. Like, this is not a small number, it's a very large number. So it affects every player, but every player has a variation on what their expectations are. And so I just want to set the record straight on what I'm expecting and what I'm going to do to support the boycott, and then what we can do and what may happen if Netmarble tries to bargain with us, because that will happen at one point, and players need to basically decide for themselves. Don't just decide based on what I'm going to say. Decide for yourself on what you want to do about it. So first of all, for me personally, what I want to see is I want to see Netmarble either, and I say either very carefully, but either completely remove this system, and the CTP system, or change it so dramatically that it no longer costs any premium currency, and the things that it does cost, we see a bump in their availability, and then the power level of the upgrade is therefore scaled down, right? Because I don't even want this much of a power bump. I don't want the content to be this much easier, right? So if they want to introduce new resources and things like that, then make it a small bump, make it a 5% bump or a 10% bump, and then make the resources that we need accessible and farmable, not rare, not gated behind crystals, right? Now again, that's a big either, because the first part of what I said was just get rid of the systems. That's the easiest thing for them to do, in my opinion, to just get rid of the system. You know what, marketing team, you guys think you're so slick, turns out you're not. Just cut your losses, admit that you were wrong, and just delete this garbage system. That's honestly my preferred way of handling this situation, but I don't know if they're going to do that. So that's where the bargaining comes into play. They may try to repackage the two new systems, the CTP system, the CTP reforging system, and the card upgrading crafting system. They may try to repackage them they may try to reduce some of the investment. So instead of having to use a premium, for example, okay, I'm just saying for example, instead of having to use a premium card on the very first level, maybe they will only require a premium card for the last 3 stars. They're gonna come at us, okay? If this boycott works, they're not just gonna fold. I mean, I hope they fold, but my guess is in my experience, and they did the same thing with the ultimates. They tried to bribe us with crystals, if you guys remember. When we were boycotting the ultimates loot boxes, they gave everyone like almost 1,800 free crystals, enough for 3 pulls of the character chest. And then they also changed the chest to guarantee one of the ultimates. Seemed like a really good deal, and a lot of people folded. A lot of people were like, you know what, I'm out. This is what I wanted, right? So again, it's up to you. I'm not pressuring you to agree with me and to do what I'm doing, but I'm telling you right now, if history repeats itself, they will come at us with a modified version of this system, of these 2 systems, the CTP Reforged system and the premium card craft system. They will come at us with a changed version of it that seems better. And some players will take that as a win, and that's fine. If you want to take that as a win, that's fine. That's up to you. That's on you. In my opinion, and I've said this already, but I'll say it again. In my opinion, if they are going to keep this system in any way at all, they have to do, for me, they have to do 2 things. First thing, they have to completely remove the cost involving premium CTPs and involving CTPs, which are premium obelisks, and premium cards. You should be able to craft 6 blue stars or 6 red stars or 6 green stars, whatever that crap is. You should be able to craft it without using any premium cards. That should be the first thing that they have to do, in my opinion. So for example here, you take do I even have one of these cards left? I thought I did. Okay, well, maybe it's not showing up because I had the rank. Okay, so for example here, I have 3 stars, okay? Now, instead of premium cards, this should all just be regular mythic cards. That's the first step, okay? And then if I wanted to do this should never cost crystals. Never cost premium crystals. Never. That's the first big change. That they have to get rid of. See, if I want to reforge this, see, this is not even, they didn't even do this properly. Look at this. The text, this is so embarrassing. They're just so lazy. Anywho, when I hit reforge, it should not cost a CTP. It should not be a CTP. It should be any mythic obelisk. 1 mythic obelisk here, and then 50 of those cubes, and you can reforge this into whatever. A forged CTP of energy or radiant. So the first thing they need to do if they're going to keep this system, in my opinion, is they need to completely remove the premium cost, the premium resources. The second thing they need to do is they need to increase, very much so, they need to increase the availability, the farmability of premium, this is ridiculous, the farmability of extreme obelisks and mythic comic cards. If they want us to use, 15 or 30 mythic cards to upgrade 1 other card, then we should be able to farm 1 mythic card per day, easily. Not if you're VIP 20, not if you spend 1,000 energy in the Dimension mission. No, it should be like, get 1,000,000 points in ABX, you get a free mythic card. Beat the giant boss raid 5 times in 1 day, you get a mythic card. It should be easy. It shouldn't be like brain dead easy, but it should be easy. Right now, even if you extend your resources to the limit, you can't farm a premium card every day. Even if you're spending 500, 600 energy in Dimension missions, okay, you cannot farm a premium, a mythic card every single day. Even if you go here and you spend, look at this, okay? We're gonna see, I have 690,000 tokens. You can farm about, 15,000, 16,000 tokens a day? So let's see how many tokens it takes for me. It's impossible, like, look at this. 1 4-star card. I need 30 4-star cards to get a mythic card? Okay, there's a 5-star card and a 4-star card. I'm getting extraordinarily lucky. You see what I'm saying? This would be like a week's worth of tokens to get 1 mythic card. It just doesn't add up. So they need to remove the premium cost, no CTPs cost, no premium cards cost upfront, no crystal cost, and then they need to give us more ways to farm mythic cards, random mythic cards, non-premium mythic cards, and extreme obelisks. And they need to give us more crystals, frankly. That's what I want. So I'm really hoping for one of the 2 situations. Either they completely remove this system, or they remove the premium components and they recognize, hey guys, we've been throttling your ability to farm comic cards for years. We're going to ease up. We're going to do some goodwill. We're going to finally listen to you, and we're going to put, mythic comic cards in this game mode. We're going to put legendary comic card drops in this game mode, and we're going to put 1 to 4 star card drops in this game mode. So if you add it all up, you should be able to farm 1 or 2 mythic cards per day. Okay? That's really what needs to happen, in my opinion. But again, it's just my opinion. So you let me know in the comments down below what your expectations are. Keep in mind, your expectations may vary wildly from mine. So, maybe read other people's expectations and see where they are, where they're at, and how closely yours align to theirs, and maybe try to find a middle ground in between so that, the goal here, the goal with the boycott is to do the most good for the game and to make the largest majority of the player base happy. Unfortunately, it's going to be impossible to make absolutely everyone involved with the boycott happy. And unfortunately, we may not get exactly what we want, even collectively, if Netmarble decides to ignore us. Those are all possibilities. I'm just giving you all of the different scenarios from best to worst. Obviously, worst being they just ignore us completely, and this game goes down the toilet. So, with that being said, hopefully you've enjoyed this 10-minute boycott retrospective. Now let's get to the data mine. So, a bunch of images were data mined that I'm going to show you now sort of slowly. Obviously, some of them you'll be able to recognize as token event images or images of boxes that they sell, and some of them have some pretty interesting implications. Like one of them looks like a jack-o'-lantern, which could be a hint that we're going to get jack-o'-lantern as a character, or it could just be a reference to the comic where War of the Realms Venom fights with a Dreamstone enhancement with a jack-o'-lantern that has a Dreamstone enhancement. We also have a box that looks exactly like Absolute Carnage, which could just be referencing the Miles Morales uniform, but could be referencing Carnage himself as a tier 3, and we'll get to why Carnage is probably coming as a tier 3 as well. But we have those. We have the Absolute Carnage token. We have this weird box that is probably for this CTP reforged material, or this card crafting material that they're introducing for Giant Boss Raid and Null Boss. We have this other box, which we don't know what that is exactly, but it looks like the CTP box, the Dimension box that we get every 28 days with the red top, and it's kind of triangular, except it's blue. They put so much design effort into these marketing items, don't they? They look so nice, but then when it comes to other things in the game, like game modes and stuff like that, they don't put much effort into it. It's pretty funny. Anywho, and then we have some really spicy ones. A transcendent character selector. So this looks to be a selector that you'll be able to use to automatically obtain a transcended character. Now, whether you have to have the character already at 6 stars or tier 2, or whether you don't even need to own the character straight up, is insane, because it may allow you, depending on the cost, depending on the availability of the transcendent selector, it may allow you to get, for example, Spider-Woman completely free without having to buy a biometric subscription, right? On the flip side, even though Moon Knight is free, Morbius isn't, so it may allow you to get Morbius as a transcendent for free with the transcendent selector, which will then allow you to do Moon Knight. So it's sort of like a 2-for-1. So the possibilities here are really ripe for excitement. However, I do have to caution you with the reality of Netmarble wants to make as much money from us as possible, apparently in as little time as possible, because they're milking us this hard. So the possibility of this being free or very cheap is low, and the possibility, it's much more likely that this is going to cost a lot of money, which is unfortunate, because I really think they could do something like, half anniversary, right? For Christmas, they could give us a free Transcendent Selector as a sign of goodwill. Hey guys, you're spending all this money in the game. You spent all this money over the years for everybody, on us. Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas, whatever, Happy Holidays. Here's a Transcendent Selector. I don't know. Who knows? Apparently, if you're nice to people, they're nice to you back. But Netmarble has never heard of that. So they're just like, let's be as dry as possible. Let's give the players as little as possible, and then just beg for them to spend money. However, there's more. As you can see, we have both a weird mega rank up ticket or mega tier 2 ticket and a very weird other ticket. I don't know if I can't remember what kind of ticket it is. But anyways, it's yellow instead of being blue, which some players are speculating that it could be a native tier 2 mega ticket. So to take like a 1-star Odin up to 6 stars, or it could be to take a character up to tier 3 automatically. We don't know. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out for that, but it's in the pipeline. Again, some of these things may just exist and never get revealed. Like we saw a premium comic card box that never came to the game. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. And then last but not least, we have a couple things here. So over in the Null World Boss, we have the Null World Boss challenges. And so you go up to stage 9 or stage 10, and you see that the challenges include playing it 5 times with Apocalypse. Now, I haven't completed them and I haven't gotten up to stage 19 to show you, but the stage 20 challenges require you to use Carnage. Now, as it stands, if you go into stage 9, you cannot use tier 2 characters. Like they're just not available. You can only use Transcended and tier 3 characters. So that would imply if you have to use Carnage, and you can't use Carnage as a striker. Now, you can use tier 2 strikers, just to clarify here. You can absolutely use tier 2 strikers, but that implies that Carnage is going to get a tier 3 or a Transcendent skill. So he's either going to become Transcended or become tier 3. My guess, of course, is tier 3 because it's Carnage. He's very, very popular, and it's the absolute Carnage run that most of this is based on. But you know, it's sort of open-ended for that, and no one's yet data mined an actual tier 3 skill or transcended skill and transcended requirements for Carnage. I'll talk about this in a later video about the strikers having their potential. Well, we're not going to talk about it in this video because it's not that important. It's kind of complicated, and yeah, we'll see what the patch notes say. Last but not least, they've data mined the requirements for Awakening, and it's actually quite interesting. So for Spider-Woman, apparently you need to have Silk, Gwenpool, and Captain Marvel at tier 2 level 60, which is pretty straightforward. Captain Marvel, of course, being a very close friend of Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman. However, for Silk and Spider-Gwen, it's different. So everybody expected that Spider-Woman was going to be needed. I think Spider-Woman is needed. It's unclear. But apparently for Spider-Gwen, you need Silk, Miles Morales, and Daredevil at level 60 tier 2. So Miles and Daredevil coming in. Usually only one character is different of the characters that you need for the Awakening. But yeah, pretty interesting. If you don't need Spider-Woman, if you don't need Spider-Woman for Spider-Gwen or Silk, that is a big win. That's a really good thing. It doesn't, you know, it obviously doesn't change all the other negatives about the update, but it is a good thing to not require the paywall character for all of the other characters to get their Awakening, because it essentially makes all of the other character Awakenings paywall, like Morbius did to Moon Knight and Elsa Bloodstone. Last but not least, Silk apparently needs Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, and Swordmaster, because Swordmaster, of course, comes in with the Agents of Atlas tie-in, where Silk and other Asian heroes band together to fight, like Luna Snow, Amadeus Cho, etc., Jimmy Chu, I believe. So that is pretty spicy info. So let me know what you guys think of these data mined infos. Let me know what you think of the boycott expectations, and what would you settle for in a Netmarble counter negotiation. Thank you so much for watching. Hit me up in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.